Today in the crypto space, we see the market getting a bit of a green bounce to the upside. Bitcoin back at 26,000, up approximately 3.5%, and Ethereum back at $1,600, up approximately 2.5%. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins followed Bitcoin's lead and got that relief to the upside. Some altcoins are looking pretty strong right now. Look at VeChain, Toncoin, Optimism, and many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that is looking like it may be looking for that bottom and going for a nice bounce to the upside, and that project is called Solana. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on those socials. The links are in the description, but better yet, guys, join that Discord. The Discord, great community, lots of good trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material for sure. All right, guys, let's get right into it. What do we have here with regards to this market getting a nice whipsaw price action, nice dip to the downside, and nice recovery to the upside, and now we're still hesitating. That's whipsaw right there. Deleveraging, potential deleveraging scenario here for the crypto space, especially with Bitcoin. You can see that whipsaw is definitely there, and at the end of the day, you know, we're still kind of hovering. We're back to where we were, back to that scenario. Bitcoin is not really giving me much of a signal. Are we going bullish? Are we going bearish? We are oversold on the daily time frame, potentially looking for, you know, a full reset to oversold, overbought conditions. But however, guys, for some reason I'm not convicted. You know, although many of my conditions are met to going long right now here for Bitcoin, personally speaking, I feel like I should be looking at alts. I just feel like alts right now, you know, at the end of the day, they are bleeding out. They did bleed out. They are at the bottom of the range. They are very undervalued in comparison to Bitcoin, given that Bitcoin did rally up from its bottom already. A lot of these altcoins didn't even have the opportunity to do so. So in my opinion, the risk to reward on alts are a little bit better, in the sense that if we do get an altcoin season, we can make some major gains here. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the overall market. Let's look at the top 100 here. We'll use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, meaning that we'll look at the chart and see if what we can kind of, you know, point out, and then we'll talk about Solana, guys. Solana, you know, did get a bit of relief after its FTX dump, and you know, now all of a sudden we're hovering around that $18 mark. Many of the altcoins are retracing, so is Solana, and now the FTX saga continues, where, you know, the sell-off might happen, where FTX may sell off a lot of tokens, not just Solana, but of course Solana being a big part of the bag may come down based on the fact that a lot of these tokens are going to be hitting the market. So let's see what happens with Solana. You know, a lot of people are you know, coming down with really bearish price targets, $8, $4. You know, who knows how low we're gonna go, but we are gonna look at the charts for possibility. You know, it's all a game of probability, and the probability is that Solana is more closer to the bottom than it is to its top, and the risk to reward ratio, regardless, is still very healthy. So we'll take a look at the charts for sure, and of course we'll take a look at the rest of the market right now. Tron getting a nice rally to the upside, 5%. Toncoin 12%. Pretty good there, guys. I've been looking at Toncoin for the last little while. I'm interested in Toncoin just for the mere fact that, you know, the price action is looking quite interesting. The volatility is there. The utility may be coming into play very soon. As soon as we start seeing maybe Toncoin getting involved with Telegram, that is very possible, given that it's part of the same, you know, ecosystem, or let's say business. At the end of the day, Telegram and Toncoin are owned by the same business. So for me, that's a pretty good thing to see that it could have an integration going forward. What else do we have here? Bitcoin Cash, not bad, 11% to the upside. Few dips altogether. XLM dipping down. AVAX didn't do much. Neither did Chainlink. Dipping. Not much relief to the upside for many of these alts. Nonetheless, we have VeChain, 8.3% to the upside. Not bad, given the fact that VeChain has been quiet. Is this proof of life? You know what? I'm going to put VeChain. I'm going to put VET on the list for tonight. I'm going to put it on the list. And of course, guys, if you have any other projects that you're interested in, feel free to let me know and I'll put it in top priority. Okay, so VeChain right now, getting a nice relief to the upside. I'm liking that. Optimism, the same thing. It did come down, and so did Arbitrum, coming down. And Arbitrum, in fact, came down 14%, guys. 14% for ARB. And at the end of the day, we're expecting Arbitrum and a lot of these layer 2s, even layer 1s, to get some relief. We need some strength here for these alts. Kaspa, getting up to those higher levels, looking pretty good. Getting a bit of rejection as we speak. There is bearish divergence on Kaspa. And of course, you know, it's signs of weakness. It means that you got to start being very, very defensive, and this means taking profit, trailing up stop losses, all that good stuff. So we're going to take a look at Kaspa, of course, tonight to see exactly what we should be doing. Guys, don't forget, I'm live at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action, and we come up with strategies. That's the whole mindset here, is to be prepared. Being prepared, one step ahead of the market, because the bull run will come as quick as you can see. All of a sudden, it will happen, and it will be too late. You want to be able to prepare now that the market's giving you the opportunity to. Okay, so let's continue. What else do we have? Algorand dipping down, still nothing really interesting. Stacks getting a bit of a bounce, but nothing crazy. BitGet looking strong. Previous highs, you know, maybe looking for a breakout, could be very possible. Bitcoin SV definitely pumping up there, looking pretty good, 8%. What else do we have? Render at $1.50, guys. Render at $1.50, looking pretty strong here. I'm hoping that I'm doing the right thing, being patient. Usually patience does pay off. It's currently at $1.50. I'm interested at about $1.20. If we get back down there, I'll be, you know, smashing that buy button for sure. And if not, you know, I'll be looking for great areas of opportunity where we see oversold conditions. Render did get kind of oversold. It's the reality. Got oversold, and I still didn't pull the trigger. So maybe I could have maybe I'll regret it. We'll see. Obviously, it's all about probability, but I'm very patient, so we'll take it easy here on Render and see if we can get in at slightly lower levels. You know, guys, I bought a significant amount of Render. I took a significant amount of profit, and now it dipped down. It dip significantly as well, and now I'm looking to buy my bag back. So it's all about not being greedy, and maybe I'm just being a little bit too greedy. Maybe I should start DCAing for sure here on Render. So I'm gonna wait to see what happens in the next little while, and I'll definitely start scaling in, just in case. You want to make sure that you buy your positions back on the cheap, and at the end of the day, a good retracement doesn't matter. Okay, let's continue going down here. KuCoin holding strong. What else? Lots of dips still. No relief on many of these alts. You must admit, even Trust Wallet bounced right back up and then fell right back down. So we're getting whipsaw. We're getting, you know, a bit of a dip scenario. We're getting, you know, some relief here and there on some of these alts, but generally speaking here, guys, generally speaking, we're still within the structure. We're still within the downward sloping structure. And if Bitcoin gets that death cross, guys, it's not looking good for the crypto space for sure. Okay, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin looking at Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at our project for today, which is Solana. What is happening here with Bitcoin? Definitely coming down, definitely hitting horizontal support. We identified this horizontal support yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about the fact that we are currently testing top, bottom, and horizontal support. It is, right? Lots of volume below it. Above it, there's not much happening. So we do have some weak zones, some weak spots that if we do get a bounce, we could even come right back up to previous highs and stay within range for the next little while. What do I mean by that? I just basically feel that if Bitcoin shows us a range, a very clear, tight range or distribution phase, we might see altcoins rally up. We might see an altcoin season. Bitcoin going sideways while it did pump up. And usually this is what happens. Bitcoin begins, it gets this nice rally. People start taking profits off of Bitcoin because, you know, it did well and it's going sideways. People take profits, and guess what? They start looking for other options. And this is where the alternatives come in, the alts, right? So it could be that people taking profits starts to make the money flow into altcoins, and it could be possible, right? It could be possible. You can't discredit it. However, guys, this bearish cross, this death cross, right now, I don't have the death cross painted here on my chart. I don't use simple moving averages. I use exponential moving averages here. And just based on the exponential, the EMAs, you can see they already got that death cross. Okay, so it's forward thinking a little bit. Why? Because the EMAs basically follow the price action a lot closer rather than the simple. So the simple right now is looking for that cross. I think it may cross today if the price action continues this way. However, guys, if we zoom in here, you can see that the Bitcoin price action is still coming down. It's still making those lower lows. It's still looking slumpy, while the momentum oscillator, the RSI, is upward sloping and currently entering the chop zone, which means that we could go sideways. But guess what, guys? We already are kind of going sideways. We already are in a chop zone. Imagine if Bitcoin gets that full reset to overbought conditions while maintaining this consolidation going sideways. Guys, that would be absolutely bearish. Basically, the bullish momentum got neutralized and we didn't get the pump to the upside on Bitcoin. And once it gets overbought, while this thing continues going sideways, you can imagine that when it's the bear's turn to actually push it down, the momentum back to oversold, it's going to continue to the downside. It's going to come back down, and who knows how low we're going to go. This is why I'm very careful here getting into longs. I am, a bit hesitant. The overall phase right now that I feel that the market is in is a little bit doubtful. Generally speaking, I would like to see Bitcoin give us a confirmation, and I would really like a confirmation low, basically a higher low coming down to lower levels. Give me a low that is higher than this one so that I can confirm that we're creating higher highs and higher lows. That's basically what I want to see. And before I get in heavy, I want to make sure that that's there. So in the meantime, we'll play it very cool. We'll wait patiently for these opportunities, and we'll be studying and learning about some of these new projects, these new altcoins that definitely have some great bullish value propositions. Okay, now there are some old school projects, right, like of course Solana, which we're going to talk about, that are still hanging around. They still have great stuff going on. They have larger ecosystems. They've taken beatings in the bull run. They've taken in the bear run, the bear market, they've taken beatings due to other scenarios such as exchanges and all this stuff that's been happening here lately. But nonetheless, these are opportunities, right? They're undervalued. Right now, a lot of these altcoins are severely undervalued, and it's about taking a chance, and a calculated risk is always best. All right, so let's take a look at Solana. What's happening here? Let's kind of zoom out. We got that huge dip. Of course, the rest of the market did as well. Got a fat dip to the downside, and we are currently consolidating, kind of going sideways big picture. You can see that. Now, what I do want to mention is that right now we are kind of creating a trend to the upside. We are creating a high. We did create a higher high and a higher low. Guys, this is a trend. Now, as long as we stay within this consolidation, it could be just that, a consolidation for continuation to the downside. And a bull flag it may be, right? If it's a bull flag, a bear flag, a bearish pennant where we expect a continuation to the downside, guys, measured move takes us down to lower levels, right? So this is the reality. Now, we do have a volume gap right here, which I'm not happy about, which this is why a lot of people are calling for a $4 Solana, which is very possible, because if you look at the bottom of the volume gap, in fact, I'm being very modest here, but if you look even lower, the actual volume here on the chart begins at about $4. So that's the reality. That's the reality. So I would be very, very, clear that this is the zone that is very possible and probable that Solana gets that support. So this is the weak spot. Right below this, you can see no volume, no price action here. Straight up price action, a bit of a wick here, and that's it. A bit of a dip, and clearly not much volume there to act as support. So that's a weak spot. But where we are right now, we also have a weak spot, which we kind of fell through before, right here in this price action, and we're currently testing it as we speak. And we are also trying to respect this diagonal line, this trend line. One touch, two touches. Are we going to respect this by creating a third touch and respecting it by getting a bounce here? Now, it's very possible, because currently we are in the volume gap. What I like about this volume gap is that we have a potential support zone right here within the volume gap that could act as support, this little spike in supply and demand. This is where, we could get support. It's all about probability, remember? And then we have another zone down here that could be a level of support, and it's very confluent with the previous price action, this low, and these little tops right here acting as support. So this is where we're at right now. If you zoom out, Solana came down significantly. Now, we could come down to about $4. That's a significant dip. What is that price target? Percentage-wise, we're coming down 75% from where we are right now. A lot of people are calling it an $8 Solana, which is at previous lows, which is about a 50% dip. Now, guys, if you are bullish on Solana and you are thinking long-term, start DCAing. It's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing to get in with a small bag right now. If it comes down, pile in. If it comes down in even further, pile in even further. Now, we got to understand, Solana's ecosystem also got a bit of a hit, and the utility by default will take a hit because not as many people are using it, given the fact that their ecosystem is a lot smaller. A lot of developers did leave Solana, and then just recently we're seeing a lot of developers come back to Solana. Solana still has its value proposition, despite, having a few opportunities or a few scenarios where it did, stop. That happens. New tech does have growing pains, and that's something that we have to consider, is that there's always areas of improvement. No project is absolutely perfect at this current moment, because this is a very speculative space and we're trying new things and experimenting with new ideas, and based on that idea, we're going to have some failures along the way, and we learn from those failures and improve this tech until it's bulletproof. But at the end of the day, we see Solana right now coming down to those lower levels and testing the lows once again. Now, if you look at the momentum oscillator, you guys know that I'm a momentum trader. I look for optimal scenarios where the momentum has come down, and in this case, where the bears are exhausted. We're almost there, guys. Here, if you look at the R side, the bears are almost exhausted. I still feel like there's a chance that we come into oversold conditions, and then once we get into that oversold scenario, you have to ask yourself, is there an indication that the bears are done? Once the bears are done and you start to feel like maybe there's divergence, bullish divergence, and that we've hit a good level of support, and what is the likelihood of the bears having the strength to push down even further, that's when you're going to start buying in. So you're taking a bit of a chance getting in right now that there's a bit more strength in these bears. And if that's the case, we could come down as low as at about $15, maybe $8. Maybe we start breaking down really significantly as those tokens hit the market, the FTX tokens that are going to be sold off. Okay, so something to be aware of. This sell-off can increase the amount of volume that we have into the market and basically dilute the price. So this is what we're watching out for in the next little while. Now, if we look at the MACD right now is definitely upward sloping, looking pretty good. The EMAs are still facing down in the bearish control zone, and right now these EMAs are the histogram bars are trying to get to the bullish control zone. So something to consider here. So again, zooming out a little bit more, what do we have here? Lots of weakness down here, a good level of support, some support over here. Just want to make sure that we're in linear. Sure, let's go into log for a second. Let me see what we can see, if we can see it a little bit better. Look at the volume gap right down here. This is where we could potentially go. This is where we could potentially go if we break down. This is the breakdown target, right? If we come down to lower levels, and this is logarithmic, of course. So waiting for oversold conditions on the daily and all that. Okay, so let's take a look at the 4 hour and let's get back into linear and kind of look at this in further detail. We're also very oversold currently on the 4 hour. Okay, so we're oversold. That is a good thing. Short term, it could get a bounce. I see hidden bullish divergence in the sense that the price action is moving up while the momentum is coming down. That means that we could get that continuation to the upside. Really good right here as we can see it. It's a good level to start DCAing because of a lot of this confluence that I see here. The MACD, sorry guys, let's see what the MACD is showing us. Let's zoom in here for a bit. Zooming in, you see the EMAs cross to the upside, green histogram bars to the upside. So looking good. Both EMAs and histogram bars are showing us that, you know what, there's some bullishness happening here right now, and that we could be getting a nice little rally to the upside or relief to the upside. Given that Solana has been taking a big beating in the short term, we could get a bit of a reaction to the upside, and I would be quick to take profits as we enter the top of the volume gaps. You know, these volume gaps right here at the tops are something to consider because we have some confluence, previous highs, and this is where the volume gap begins, and then this is the top of the volume gap, which is confluent with this top right here. So be careful as we get there. We do have resistance looking left as well to act as resistance. If we do happen to get here, you can see this volume gap needs to be considered because this is where you might want to de-risk if you're going long currently on Solana. So on the 4 hour, I'm seeing a potential good opportunity to start DCAing and maybe get that pop to the upside and stay within structure, which is an upward sloping channel or wedge at the moment. And on the daily, I feel like we could eventually come down for another impulse down to get absolutely oversold, and that would be the absolute best opportunity to get in on the cheap. So DCAing is your best strategy, and reserving some capital if we get to those bearish conditions. That's when you will deploy even heavier, dragging your average cost down to those lower levels. All right, guys, if I offered you any value, do the channel a huge favor and slap that like button. Guys, I'm live at 7:30 Eastern talking about crypto news and price action. And of course, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Guys, see you tonight, 7:30. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.